Let's get to some mixing. I'm going to create a session. Um, just a little quick piece of info. If you single click on one of these audio files and hit Command I, get info, you can learn that it is a mono 48K 24-bit file that can inform what you choose in terms of your sample rate and bit depth. We're good at 4824. I'm going to call this KMS, Killing Me Softly, and I will hit create. I haven't imported anything yet though, but that's what I want to create the session at in terms of its parameters. I am in the file folder, highlight everything. I want to copy them so that they end up in my sessions audio files folder. So just go ahead and hit open. While this is processing, a reminder about sample rate and bit depth. Sample rate is analogous to taking a photo. A sample is kind of like a photo. 44.1 is 44,100 photos. 48K is 48,000. So think of, the higher the sample rate, the more pictures taken, the slices of this sound as it's being converted from analog to digital. There's also 96 kilohertz. So of course that would be, doubly as dense. Bit depth has to do with think of a graph paper and what it takes to create a sine wave on a graph paper. The more squares on the graph, the cleaner your curves without having to, in audio it's called quantizing, having to essentially round your data points. So the lower the bit depth, the more rounding that occurs, and not quite as clean of a capture. So we are at 48K 24-bit. Back in the day, the standard was 44.116. That's CD quality audio. Then we started to be able to increase our bit depth and sample rate, and still ended up bouncing down at 4416 for CDs and whatnot. Okay, I'm going to go to new track, hit create, and let's see what we have. All right, I like to order my things like so. So everything's highlighted. I need to hit Command and click so I can separate. I'm going to take my sub kick, move it over to the right, the kick in all the way to the left. Sorry, other right. Snare top, snare bottom, overheads. This says overhead left, but it's a stereo track. So I'm going to rename this overheads. OH's. I'll just go with that, OH. Then I will get I think I saw a hi-hat here. Hi-hat, high tom, low tom. Nope, mid tom will go in between the high and the mid. That makes sense. Now I'll take all of my drum tracks, double click on the footer there to get color. Let's make them nice bright red. My bass, I'm going to make a nice rich purple. My keys, let's make them kind of a dark red. My guitars, 2 of them, let's make them an ugly green. And then for the vocals, I want to also do a little bit of reorganizing here. I'm going to have the main lead vocal. It looks like some of our vocal tracks, the backups, ended up in stereo tracks like this one, and some did not. So I'm going to make these are the highs. I want the lows, believe it or not. So it might seem weird, but I like the lead, the lows, then the highs, left and right, and the mid I will put in between the lows and the highs. And then the outro, and that makes sense to me just to leave it there for now. Do I leave them this blue? It's kind of a boring blue, isn't it? I'll make them kind of tealish, aqua. Go ahead and make a master fader while I'm here. And just inside of the master fader, we don't need anything quite yet. Okay, I won't even make my aux tracks. And not going to listen and not going to make any change. Yeah, I am going to make a couple changes here. So thinking about, nope, no changes.